Howdy, folks. Today we were going to talk about the Fearless S8F, which has been a long time favorite of Hawaii Bad Boy. And many folks have bought these headphones and love them. And of course, I'm like a year late. A friend of mine, Tom, from the Untitled Chat, sent me his pair to check out. Tom is a fantastic guy. Can't thank him enough. He sent me a ton of headphones to check that I wouldn't have had access to. Thank you, Tom. You're an awesome dude. So I wanted to talk about these headphones because I haven't yet. Just sort of comparison stuff in other videos. And they're really excellent headphones, as I'm sure everyone knows at this point. I wanted to give my impressions of them so people can, if you've heard these, understand where I'm coming from. These are ASLA Send at Your Fit Lights tips. So these headphones have 3 bores. You can see that. They have a really excellent fit and finish. Just one thing, I was checking these out on my video just now, and it's like there's no crap inside of these. It's nice and clear and clean, and I can't say that about the EJ07. Both sets that I've tried had crap on the insides, fingerprints and smudges, and it's like, what the hell? Put on some gloves when you're building these dudes. Come on. These are nice. There's none of that crap going on. Recessed 2-pin, excellent, light. They are not vented. There's no vents, no tuning switches. Just all balanced armatures, 8 of these guys, two of the big bad boys there. Notice how they are wrapped in like a, silicone thing. That decreases the amount of vibration inside the IEM for the balanced armatures, so it gives them a little less, extra resonances. That's cool. And then I'm starting to get picky about the fill on like hollow resin-filled IEMs. So you can see the fill line right here, coming up to here, which is cool. They're like a pair of my EJs, the fill only went up like barely into the tip, and it's like, well, these drivers are just hanging out by the tubes. Man, put some resin fill on them so they don't move around or feel like they want to fall off the tubes. I mean, if you dropped it on the floor, I don't know what the hell would happen. Anyway, just something I've been OCDing about. So I do like these headphones a lot. They have an issue for me, which is that the mids are dipped out more than I like, and the upper mids are too much, and so as you turn these up, they become pretty hard to deal with. Medium volume listening is pretty excellent on these, and I think that's what most people do, in fact, listen to them on with. Corinne rated these, I think, an A or A+, something in that area, just to let you know. Let me just pull up their graph before I start going nuts. Let's see here. All right, we got, I pulled out the S8F on Critical's website versus the Legacy 9, which I just reviewed, and that actually helps me talk about this a bit because I can look at this. So the L9 has a 10 millimeter dynamic driver, which obviously hits a hell of a lot more sub bass, but also mid bass. So like 60 to 100 hertz is like, it's quite a bit more on the L9 versus the Fearless. And then the Fearless has a balanced armature, so the sub bass is, I don't hear any balanced armatures that hit between 30 and 40 hertz, 20 and 30 hertz with a lot of volume, a lot of energy. It's just something that's something I've been noticing. They do like up to about 40, they're pretty good. You can hear that, but like below that, you can see that roll off. I hear that is even worse than that looks on the chart. Similar-ish to, well, I don't know, whatever that is, 700 hertz. L9 is dipped out a little more at 1K. And then this is the area which I'm going to complain about a little bit on the S8F. So I really like my mids to peak at about 2.5K, right about here where the L9 is. And then, of course, the Fearless peaks at like 3.5K, which is, and then there's really no dip in the 5K region, which I actually enjoy. And even the L9 has too much of that. Actually, I think it's between 5 and 7K-ish. I like that to come down and then back up to 8. So both of these have a lot of energy in that area, more than I like. hold on a sec. I just realized that I need to check something on my graph. Done. Okay, sorry. Let's see. Yeah, this area right here is like, let me do this. Let me kill off the L9 and pin what I hear as being pretty accurate, which is Shure. Where are we here? Come on, Shure. EJ07. So that kind of shows you what I'm talking about a little better. So yeah, this part right here is definitely a hot spot for my ears, and it's as you turn that up, that just becomes hard to deal with for myself. And then the mids don't peak at the correct 2.5 for me, so they feel dipped actually on the S8F. And they do, I mean, they do have more treble detail, but it's not like in a way that really matters that much for me compared to the EJ. It's sort of similar, I don't know, give or take. But yeah, this area right there. All right, so let's go and look at my chart. And so we were talking about this line right here. All right, so I'm going to compare to the S8Z a little bit since it's supposed to be like a refined version, I think, of the S8F as far as I can tell. All right, so starting with coherency. I do find these quite coherent. There's really no dips or anything. There's definitely some hot spots. It's not as good as it could possibly be, but it's not bad, so we're going to call it a 7. Colored or accuracy of sound, so they are a bit colored. They definitely have more what I think is, well, not studio accurate anyway, but more high mids than I like and less mid-mids than I like. The treble seems pretty okay. And the bass has a little too much mid-bass, so they are a bit colored for my tastes. They do have some magic factor. They're quite an exciting set to listen to. Overly exciting, of course, as you turn up. But that's sort of the, like Fearless has the S8P, which is like their pro model, which is supposed to be less exciting. The F is their more exciting model. So I guess that makes, some sense. Stage depth is a good, pretty good 7. I hear the S8Z as being slightly better. Slightly more refined, slightly deeper. Not really sure how they got that tuning out of that, but it seems that way. Oh yeah, there's a 3D printed chamber in the S8Z comparatively, which I think the paperwork said that it decreases resonance in whatever driver they stuck that in, so that sounds cool. Stage depth, so openness of sound. The S8F sounds quite open. It's very nice. Compared to the Z is slightly more refined, and it does sound just a hair wider. The Z is about as wide as things get, give or take. Like the Voyager 14 is ridiculously overtly wide. It's not tremendously 3D, but it does feel open. You stick them in your ears and you feel like you're listening to, say, like a room versus something inside your head. Quite nice, like it. Imaging is roughly similar to the S8Z. It's actually very good. You can pick out anything, certainly in front of you, to the sides of you, a little bit above, a little bit below, not behind you. It seems like that seems to be regulated to EST drivers as far as I can tell. That sort of 3D, ultra 3D quality. Imaging is actually excellent on the S8F. Volume scaling, so because of the fact that the high mids are pushed, they do not scale well in volume. As soon as you turn these up loud, they're going to start to bug you pretty well immediately. It just sounds, not so much that there's peakiness, it's just that the mids sound like too much. Not peaky, but just too much. Just call it that. And the fact that on the graph, let's see, let me just grab that. Let's see. And the graph, this area right over, come on, graph. Here we go. Right in this area here. That's the issue right there. Just wanted to point that out. So they won't scale in volume because that becomes really rough on the ears as you turn it up. At least it does for me. No vents, and they do in fact get a pressure buildup. I don't really get that on, well, with the Sendas, I do get a bit of a pressure buildup as I stick them in my ears. It seems to go away, but I've tried hiking with them, and that ends up, I got to pull them out every once in a while and let the pressure equalize. which means partly that they fit extra well, and also partly that, you know, it's an issue. Okay, so let's see, where am I on the right line? No, I'm not. Isolating. They're similar to the other sort of acrylic headphones that do bottom out in my ears. They just work really well for me. They isolate super well. Can't complain. Get a 4 out of 5. You get some tips and shove them way in there, and they'll work well. So then we have the bass. So kind of typical balanced armature bass, although a little more potent than some other sets. They are definitely pushed in the mid bass way more than I like. And so from the graph, that's this area here. And then you can see compared to the EJ, there's like, Jesus, at 100 hertz, that's, what is that, 7 dB more? It's a lot more. They sound much, much warmer and bloaty, tubby. It's not so much that the balanced armatures are tubby, it's just that, you know, when you accentuate those frequencies, music just sounds a bit more warm. And then, so speaking of that, I pulled out the track. I've mentioned this on a few other ones as well. Reggae Disco Rockers, Bridge Over Troubled Water. The female voices have way too much low end. They sound, what am I trying to say? They sound like they're resonating like a male voice. So I don't like that. And then also they were dipped, V-shaped, compared to some of the other instrumental stuff in that track, meaning that the instrumental stuff becomes more front and center than the vocals, and the vocals are too warm. So yeah, on that track it was not so good. They do better on like EDM tracks where it's like EDM tracks are like kind of naturally V-shaped anyways in a lot of cases, so they do better on that. They do pretty okay with classical, actually pretty good indeed. The extra mid bass tends to make some of the acoustic instruments just more bold sounding, sometimes a little bloaty, but not too bad. So I like them with that. Where are we here? Let's see. Richness of mids. Pretty good. Dipped V-shaped, so it could be better. We're going to give it a 7. I don't find huge problems with the mids so much as that the high mids low treble is just pushed, which makes them a little less than I like. Moving on to the treble, these do have pretty good treble. According to the graph, it goes up to about, you know, I don't know, give or take 10K, and then drops off pretty steadily. I think a lot of folks will find the treble pretty good on these. Whether or not it's too hot for you, I don't know, but quality is there. It's pretty good. I like it. And then we have resolution, balanced armatures. So like, seems to be that balanced armature sets tend to hit like about an 8 for me. The V14, amazingly, like in resolution, hit like a 9, which makes sense because they're just like, geez, I think the 14 has like 8 balanced armatures for the treble, something like that. Maybe it's 6, but 2 for treble and then like 4 for ultra treble. It's pretty crazy. So that's like a hair up, but yeah, we're gonna give it an 8. Electrostatic drivers seem better to me in terms of resolution for sure. And then binaural stuff, not too bad, and that's because of, on our graph here, like right around 10K, we get a nice drop off on the S8F, and when you have too much information in this area, it makes binaural sound fake and recorded rather than you standing in the same room that it was recorded in. So that's my take on that. They sound okay, not bad. What did I give that? A 3. So that's like, you know, better than average, we'll say. So the price on these, I don't know, you can probably get them for less than they were new, but it was like 500 new. Yeah, so I do hear the S8F as being slightly less refined as the S8Z, partly because of the high mids, low treble, and partly because of the mid bass being too much. For a lot of folks, this set will probably hit the mark pretty well, and I know it has, since they've got a lot of time and people at bottom. I think you could do better. I think that the Z is going to probably be an upgrade for most folks, except for the bass on the Z is definitely less, but it's less bloaty in the mid-range. So like for the Z, I find it better, but you need to add a little EQ into like, say, 30, 40 hertz, 20, 30 hertz, and that on the Z comes out super, super nice. But again, I'm not rating that based on EQ. I'm rating based on what comes out of the box. So I just wanted to mention that a little bit. Should you buy these? Yeah, you should if you're getting a good deal on them. If you're getting a new price, I don't know. Like, less than 500. Oh, come here. Where are you going? Less than 500. We'll say, I don't know, just less than 500. Get a deal on them, and then they're probably pretty good. If you are sensitive to high mids in that low treble stuff, well, pretty much high mids, these might be an issue for you, and I've heard other folks talk about that as well. So, overall, I'm going to say probably look elsewhere at the moment unless you got a really good deal on these. They're an amazing set, and certainly when they came out, they were kind of groundbreaking in a lot of senses, and they deserve all the kudos they've gotten. I want to say that. And by the way, this is they can come in a full custom, and you can get different shells, like a million different shells. I don't know what we call this one, but I like it. It's cool. Tom picked this out, so I'm sure he likes it as well. Thank you, Tom. I did appreciate listening to these, and I will send them on back to you right away. And have a great day, folks. I think the next headphone coming up for review, let me think. It's probably going to be the Shure Conductor. I might do a couple of the cheapies in the meantime, but that's where I'm headed. So have a good one. Bye.